You know, it's kind of weird that Ben Affleck once played an actor who played Superman in the 50s, and now he's playing Batman facing off against Superman. What a coincidence, right? Hi, I'm Tyler, and I'm here to let you know that there is no perfect movie. Don't listen to what people say on Twitter. So in Batman v Superman, Batman, played by Ben Affleck, comes into conflict with Superman, played by Henry Cavill, because Bruce Wayne lost a ton of people he cared about during the battle in Metropolis in Man of Steel, and he blames Superman for that as a result. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor has this evil plan that could affect the world, big surprise there, and Batman and Superman get caught in the middle of it. Coming from a guy who thought Superman was just okay, I was surprised by the fact that I thought Batman v Superman was good. Nothing spectacular, but good. The best part about Batman v Superman for me, personally, was Ben Affleck as Batman. This is possibly one of my favorite portrayals of the character in just about anything. His motivation for going after Superman is pretty justified when we see what happened to him in Metropolis, and on top of that, his character does stand out from other portrayals of the character. He's never too brooding, he's never too serious. He does do a good job at hiding the fact that he does have a big secret, that being a crime-fighting vigilante. And he's well aware of the fact that not everyone agrees with his antics, as many people label him a criminal, and he completely agrees that he is a criminal. He does assault people, he does take the law into his own hands, and he's not afraid to do that. And Jeremy Irons was a lot of fun as Alfred. He had a lot of good one-liners, he was very snarky, he had a very believable and enjoyable relationship with Bruce Wayne, and he had some very good insight as to what his battle with Superman could lead to and whether or not it's even necessary. I thought Henry Cavill was very stiff in Man of Steel. His vocals and facial expressions looked very wooden and not very lifelike. But in this movie, Cavill does have some charisma and charm to him. He seems like a believable person. And he's given a little bit more to do in Man of Steel. For me, one of the biggest surprises, though, was Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. She took a character who I was never really a big fan of, wasn't looking forward to her in this movie, and even though she's not in it as much as everyone else, she kicked ass. Her costume looked very authentic, it didn't look like a complete cosplay gone wrong. Her powers were cool, she was a lot of fun in the action scenes. I was surprised by the fact that I enjoyed Wonder Woman as much as I did. But one of the performances that actually surprised me a little bit was Holly Hunter as the senator who, while she isn't ruling out the possibility that Superman is a good person, she does hold him accountable for the destruction that happened in Man of Steel, and all she wants is for him to debate whether or not his actions were warranted and if he's even needed. It's not necessarily that she's a bad person, but she's going strictly by the facts. She doesn't let anyone influence her opinion, especially not Lex Luthor. And it's admirable that she is willing to believe in this stuff, while also being incredibly open-minded, because usually in movies like this character would have been absolutely hating the main character just for no reason. And I like the fact that they gave her a basis, and I felt sympathetic for her all the way through. The main thing I didn't appreciate in Man of Steel was how dialogue-oriented it was, and it didn't really feel like dialogue. It felt more like speeches. The majority of Man of Steel, for me, consisted of speeches of whether or not the world could accept Superman. And it's not that these were bad speeches or even bad ideas, it's just they all felt like the same thing, and the fact that they took up the majority of the movie felt like a complete time waster and a little bit pretentious, in my opinion. And maybe one of the reasons I enjoyed Batman v Superman a lot more was how strictly visual a lot of the scenes were. Zack Snyder's greatest talent as a director is that he knows how to make each scene look like a comic book panel. He knows where to put the camera, what angle to shoot it from, whether or not it needs to be in slow motion or not. Scenes of Batman going through something as simple as a hard drive, or Lois Lane looking for this one specific object. Scenes like this, I wish we had in Man of Steel, where you could see what the characters are thinking in their eyes and not having to rely on exposition. And I really enjoyed the movie for how visual it was. The action scenes in this movie were a lot of fun to watch, especially the battle between Batman v Superman. It didn't feel over the top, it didn't feel unnecessary, it felt very gritty, very realistic. When these guys are throwing each other down, they go through walls, you feel every hit and every fall they take. It's a lot of fun to watch. There are a couple of scenes, like this one car chase where I thought it was a little over-edited and underlit, but aside from that, each action scene feels very clear, very pristine, and a lot of fun to watch. A lot of people were bothered by this film's narrative, and while I can understand that, even though it is flawed, I don't think it's as flawed as people make it out to be. A lot of people seem to think that this movie just serves as setting up for the Justice League universe, and quite frankly, even though there are hints at that, I don't really think that's the main purpose of this movie. The main focus on the movie throughout is Superman looking at other people's reactions to him and thinking, should I answer for this? Should I stay in the dark? Could anything bad happen if I answered for what happened? Along with Batman thinking, could this guy be a threat? If there's even a slight chance, we have to be absolutely sure that we need to take action. And yes, there are a few teasers that are meant to build up future Justice League solo movies. There are like 3 or 4 in particular, and I'm not going to give away who they are. But I don't feel like this serves as the main purpose of the movie. When we see a tiny glimpse of each of these heroes, we're never given a backstory, there's a lot for us to interpret, it's mainly visual, no dialogue or exposition of any kind. Do these scenes serve a purpose in the movie? Technically no, but did I enjoy them? Yeah, I did. That being said, if these scenes were cut out, it probably would have been for the better due to the fact that a lot of these characters from Man of Steel are still underdeveloped in this movie. I like Amy Adams as an actress, and she does give a good job as usual, but if you were to write her out of this movie, absolutely nothing of importance would be affected in any way. In fact, it would have cut out her being a complete damsel as per usual. It would have cut out her forced romance with Clark, which still has absolutely nothing going for it. If you were to cut out Lawrence Fishburne in this movie, nothing of importance would happen. In fact, it would be a lot shorter and a lot more focused. And let's just get to the part that I hated the most about this movie. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Who thought this was a good idea? I give him credit that the writing for this character is alright, and to be fair, Eisenberg is trying to give a good performance, but at the same time, this is not Lex Luthor in any way. Lex Luthor was this charming but menacing billionaire who was played by such great actors like Gene Hackman and Kevin Spacey. And yeah, Jesse Eisenberg is a good actor, but he's a little young for the role and not very intimidating in the slightest. And he reminded me a lot of John Travolta in Face Off, where he does these very weird mannerisms. It's just, they were so weird choices, and they didn't pay off at all. Do you know how Lex Luthor is first introduced to this movie? Playing basketball, wearing a chimpanzee t-shirt, feeding a government agent a red Jolly Rancher with his hands into his mouth. Boy, does that sound intimidating, doesn't it? Batman v Superman does have a few too many underdeveloped characters and is a little bit unfocused in its narrative, but Ben Affleck's portrayal of Batman, the story of Superman facing up to his consequences, the comic book-like cinematography, and the wonderfully crafted action scenes were enough for me to enjoy this movie, and I am going to give it 3.25 out of 5. I'm Tyler Wolff. Thanks for watching. Take care.